This is the Wally Show precast, the stuff we didn't get to during the show, including a new game that Betty got me for Christmas, being Boozled, but we will get to that momentarily. First things first, we got to do a birthday here for Carlin. Happy birthday. She says her birthday's today. Here are my questions. Zach, can time gain momentum? Because, again, you have to ask questions if you want a birthday wish. Again, happy birthday to you, Carlin. Can time gain momentum?
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Even.
It seems very heady.
I'm assuming the answer is yes, and because she's asking, like, does she mean can time speed up or slow down?
Maybe.
I mean, it's all relative to the person, but yeah, it can if you go faster or slower.
Okay. I think she
guess.
might have been trying to trick you, or I don't know. Betty Rock, what's the most absolute ruthless thing Wally's ever done to you?
Oh, that's hard to choose from.
I know,
It
there's a
could be
bunch.
the time that he shoved me into a filled garbage can outside.
That was a good one.
That was good.
dumpster. Or it could have been the time that he hid my lunch in the ceiling
That was a good one.
and wanted to play hot or cold. It also could have been that time that he shoved me in one of those air vent cylinder
yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Also, that time you hit me with a paintbrush.
Oh, yeah. Don't
It
forget
made
the
me
time.
almost break my neck.
Yeah. The time I shoved you in your car.
Yeah,
Don't forget that
shoved
one.
me in the trunk of
The
my
trunk of
own
a car. That was a good
I've
one.
been shoved in the trunk of your car too, though. So let's not act like
Yeah.
it's
Did Wally pick you up and do that?
no.
Yeah. I don't know if I could.
We did that on air. That was a long time ago.
Did we really?
Yeah, like I had to call in. And,
Oh, that's right. We were
yeah.
doing a test. It was like a science test.
yes, it was science.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
what you said.
Yeah, that's what all of mine with Betty have been. She just doesn't see it like that. All right, so Becca, what is your favorite part about your Bloodwater trip? And I'm assuming not the last one, because the last one was where you had to leave Africa as fast as possible to get home to your sick husband.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have many positive memories of Bloodwater trips because the last one, I literally, like, it is a blank spot in my memory.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything from the trip.
And I believe it, because you got
Before-
very consumed with self on that trip.
Yes, that is what happened.
Yes, that's
That
where.
is exactly what happened. Rwanda was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. I remember that. I
It
think we
was.
saw some people. And
It
did
was
some
clean.
things.
It was very clean. Like, I think that was the place that you
yeah.
have.
Yes.
Once a month, you have to clean, but ordered by the government, you have to clean like the area around you outside, like your house and the streets and stuff.
And
That's really intriguing.
Yeah.
You would
Yeah.
think that would cut down on people littering because
It probably
if I'm
does.
gonna
it
clean it
does.
up.
And they banned plastic bags as well. And so there were no plastic bags in the country.
Did you smuggle any in?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
on
I did too.
accident. I didn't know. I will say this: because I wasn't a part of the drive because I was in Louisiana on vacation.
Yes.
But Musicor, who's the partner there, I was very impressed by them. Everyone had such a positive perception of them.
Yeah.
And the work they did. And you could tell that they were doing some really great things. And we got a weird carving. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Who ended up with that?
I gave it back to somebody at Bloodwater, and so I think it's in their office right now.
Because it was outside my hotel room, and you were like waiting me to come out to it, and I opened my door. I'm like, Joey's in the ICU.
I know. I
You're
remember
like,
that.
Oh, okay, I'll take the plaque.
And it
back."
wasn't funny all of a sudden.
Yes.
Like, Joey ruined that joke.
So okay, I remember some parts.
Yeah, all right. So, Wally, what's the best prank you ever played? I think I faked my own kidnapping once. That was pretty good. All right. Long story. But anyway, happy birthday there, Carlin. Betty Rock, what do you got on the list of these that we did not get to today?
Okay, so I have great news for all of those game show loving people from the 80s.
Yay, that's me.
Love Connection was huge back in the 80s. And
With
it's
Chuck
coming,
Woolery.
And it's coming back. Now, supposedly, this is a game that I've never seen it, but you have a contestant, and then that person gets to choose from 3 other contestants on who they want to go on a date with.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they tell
That's
about
the
the
best
whole
part.
date.
That
which
is the best
sounds
part.
just boring to me.
No, because what happens inevitably is, like, the guy will come back and they have them separated, and he's like, tell us about the date. I got to tell you, it was magical. I'd never felt that connected to somebody in my life. We hit it off the second we met, and we spent the whole night just laughing, and it was just cool. I think I might have found my one. And then they talked to the girl, and it's like, so how was your date? From the very minute I met him, I couldn't stand him. Like, you're like, how do people have that different of a viewpoint of this date? And it's fascinating to see.
So it used to be 30 minutes. Now they're going into a whole hour.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing this with game shows, and they don't need an hour. There
Yeah.
are so many game shows on ABC. They brought back a lot of things that it just seems like they're dragging it out.
Is
for
Match
no reason.
Game that they brought back, is that an hour now? Because
Yeah.
that doesn't need to be.
It's
At
an hour.
all, that doesn't need to be.
I don't know. But Andy Cohen is the host. You would know him from Watch What Happens Next, another show that he's hosted.
I don't know that.
I can't place him. I've seen him,
Yeah.
but I can't place him on what
They
I've
should have brought Chuck Woolery back. He had this thing, this sign off. You know how, like, everybody that hosts a game show has to have something that tries to make them different. Like Howie Mandel. Do you remember his little signature thing that he would do on Deal or No Deal?
No.
He would do this shark thing with his hand. He would like go to wave, and he would go like it's almost like a salute, and then he would do this thing with his hand as a shark. Chuck Woolery would be like, "We'll be back in 2," and he'd put 2 fingers up and 2, and then he'd turn them around like a peace sign. So they all have that
What
little
does that mean?
moniker.
2 and 2.
I have no idea. Like 2 minutes to 4 minutes. I have no idea.
Huh.
We'll be back in
And
2 and 2.
You need a sign off for the Wally Show
Oh.
Facebook Live.
Oh yeah, you guys know my podcast one because
Yeah.
everyone mimics
That's kind
it.
of boring. You
I
need
know.
a cool one.
I
You
just
need a
wanted
shark.
something like because people were like, yeah, I do. Because people were like, well, we don't really know when it's over. I'm like, when we stop talking, it's over.
That's a good clue.
It's pretty obvious. Like, there's not very many dramatic pauses in the podcast. So we started doing that. And I'm like, I don't know that it needs it actually. So yeah, Chuck Woolery. We should watch. I'll watch it and see if it's any good. See if it.
Yeah.
If it
It's supposed to premiere this coming summer.
There's a new game show that we watched the other day, and the Biggest Fan one.
oh, did you? I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I watched it. It was
Was it good?
Yeah, I watched the Matthew McConaughey episode, and basically they bring on 3 super fans of Matthew McConaughey and quiz them on
Uh-huh.
trivia of him, and then at the end they go up against him, and it's so fascinating because they know more things about him than he knows.
Oh,
Like they have
that's
this
creepy.
picture of him with a dog over his shoulder, and he's like,
Yeah.
I don't even know whose dog that was, and the girl's like, oh, it's from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and he's like,
Oh, how funny.
Oh
Wow.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
It was. I don't think it's worth
What's it called?
Biggest Fan.
Okay.
It wasn't.
What's the prize? Do they get to go on a
You
date
get a
with
little fan.
Oh, see, I
Really?
actually
Wow.
10 years, 12 years ago created a show that I pitched in California, and it was called Fandemonium. And the thing was like this: you answered questions about a fan, but the prize was I didn't have the element of them taking on that celebrity, but the prize was you got to go hang out with them for a day, and you got all of the big, celebrity treatment, and this star who you know everything about had to hang out with you.
Had
so
to
that
hang
was
out with
yeah, I know. So that was kind of the
Yeah.
thing. Dang, that's the same show.
No, it's not.
How is it not the same
some of-
show with the exception of Matthew McConaughey answering questions about himself?
Because I just don't think it's that original of a concept that it's not.
Mm.
It's like I don't think it's crazy that someone else came up with it. That's
No, I'm
all.
not saying it wasn't stolen. I'm just
Oh.
saying that
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not saying it was stolen. What I'm saying is that
They owe you money.
yes, no, I wish. What I'm saying is it's so hard to get television shows on.
Oh, and they said no to you.
Yeah, and I was out pitching, and I was pitching really good. Like I'm seeing so many ideas I pitched
Get
come
made
out.
into
Yeah,
things.
again, it's all in the
Right
ether.
timing, and so the
I-
guy that hosts this is the he's the co-host with Conan.
I
can't
pitched a
remember-
show.
Andy something.
Andy
Um,
Richter.
But it was
Yeah.
not that entertaining, honestly. Like the people are interesting, but I don't think it's worth having a regular show about it.
I pitched a show called Rat Race, which was The Apprentice, basically. But I learned this years later. They were so smart to attach Donald Trump to it or somebody like that.
Mhm.
Like mine was just a generic people vying for this job. They get this job at the end of the thing, and it didn't have that other twist. It was like that next twist of aligning and attaching some big celebrity to it. And that's the thing that early on in pitching shows I was missing. Like we pitched a show to NBC that ended up going to pilot, and they assigned a celebrity to it, but they assigned stupid Mario Lopez to it. So Mario Lopez was the forced host of our show.
AC Slater
Yes.
is always welcome.
He is horrible. He's absolutely horrible. Like as a host for, or at least for our
He's
show.
had a job for a long time
Right.
in this industry, though.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I so don't get it. Like he was horrible. So
Wow.
anyway,
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
It's all AC Slater's fault. It's
It
not-
was. It was
wasn't my idea.
it was a good idea, man. It was an unconventional wish fulfillment show. So people would submit their wishes. I wish to be reunited with my grandmother for her 80th birthday. And like, fine, we're gonna do that. And so we brought the family all in, and they're like, where's grandma? Where's grandma? And we made grandma parachute into the reunion at 80 years old. Like that's funny, And so that was the kind of stuff we did. So anyway.
Missed opportunities.
I've got so many of those, dude. It's crazy. If I had just got the right break, I wouldn't be here with you guys now. Okay. Anything else?
Are you still? I think you're still stewing a little bit.
I am still. I'm good.
I
I'm
just
good.
spit, too.
I'm past
Okay.
it. Nice. I'm past it.
I'm okay.
Fabulous. Excellent Facebook living there as well. Hey, by the way, we are Facebook living this too. Okay, so let's get to something that we were doing on the show. And you'll hear this later, but we did not get to Zach's and Betty's. There's this thing about, as we're believers, we're not perfect and we make mistakes. And sometimes people will judge you and look at the things you do outwardly and say, well, how can you be a Christian if you do this? And that's kind of what we're talking about. I'm a Christian, and it's kind of that honest thing of the mistakes we make. You'll have to listen for Becca's and mine. I don't want to spoiler alert that. Hers is really juicy.
Just wait till you hear the epic thing that Becca had to say.
You won't believe.
It was something that actually curled my hair. Very salacious. So make sure you listen all the way through to the end of that. So let's go with Betty's.
Okay, I'm a Christian, but I have a problem with anxiety and fear. So mainly it has to do with health. Anything that if I have a pain in my toe, I think that it's going to fall off.
Yeah, I've gangrene. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. If anything hurts, I'm at the doctor and I don't waste time. Now, my parents on the other end are more like, wait and see. But me, I'm like, no, we're going first thing.
And the thing about that is, it's kind of like there's a misconception, I think, on a lot of people's parts that they say, well, if you're a Christian, you should never have fear because God has not given you a spirit of fear and you should never worry. And while there's truth in that, it's not reality for 99% of us that there is fear and there is worry. Now, is it something we should work on and try to improve upon and learn to trust more? 100%. Like, I need that. Everybody needs that. But it's not indicative of I have weak faith or I'm a weak person or I'm not a believer just because you kind of struggle in that area.
No, and I believe that all of us as Christians have one area in our lives that we're going to be weak on. There might be something that you battle with that I have no understanding of.
Right.
And that could be the same for all of us. I just think that we shouldn't judge one another. If you don't have a problem with worry or anxiety, fine, but you might have a problem with something else, and there's no reason for me to judge you or you to judge me.
Right.
We're just in it to win it.
Thank you.
I believe that's Psalm 13:29.
Yes. We should do motivational speeches with Betty where they just kind of end with something like that. We're just in it to win it. Zach, what is yours? I'm a Christian, but
I'm a Christian, but I don't read the Bible as much as I would say I should.
that's a good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll believe this. Even when I read the Bible, sometimes I feel like I want to argue with stuff because I'm like, that
weird.
can't be like, because I'm contrarian by nature. And so when you read the Bible that you know is 100% true and you want to argue with it, it gets very frustrating.
I fully understand that because that's like how you're wired too.
Right. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like that makes me want to study and find out the truth more, but you just don't always have the time for that or the energy.
Questions aren't bad if you do the work to find them out. Like when you question, people say, I question God, but then a lot of people stop there and they won't dig in, and it just leaves them at this place where there's no answer, there's no closure, there's no nothing, there's no going deeper. Because sometimes you might start with this question here, and then you go ahead and you start looking for stuff, and you find other answers to things in your life and other, hope or things that you weren't even trying to find at that moment when you dig into the Bible. But I agree that that's something that I definitely struggle with. And I think people have a misconception maybe of us in doing Christian radio, that we are constantly doing Bible studies and that we're always in the Word and things like that. And that's definitely a place where I'm deficient. You tend to be the guy that's at church on the weekend, and then you do one other thing during the week, and you kind of call it good, and then you get busy with life, and
we all would say that that's not what we should be doing,
right? And we advise everyone else to not do that.
You need to get into the Word.
You get into the Word. Got to get into the Word. Oh yeah, there's definitely a level of hypocrisy in this room.
If we had a hypocrisy meter, it'd be like beep, beep, beep,
it
beep, 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 beep,
would have
beep,
just
beep.
gone off the Richter right there. Those are really good ones, but I'll tell you, those do not compare
nothing like
to this one. All right, I'm gonna play this, and I'm not playing
Is this
the whole
Becca's?
No. This is the lady
we'll
that
save
called.
that one for later.
Becca's is worse than
Yeah.
this. Okay. So this was a lady that called while we were doing the segment that did not air. So again, as a potty, you're getting things that have not aired before. And so here's this one. I'm a Christian, but.
I read all of the 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to hang up on you right now because I can't be associated with you anymore. That's one of those very polarizing things that there are people that would judge you for that and say, okay, well, you can't be a believer and do that. After reading that, I'm really curious. What did you discover? Did you be like, you know what? I feel in my soul I probably shouldn't have. That's not the best thing to put into my head. Or did you walk away from that going, yeah, it wasn't a big deal?
It was a big deal. I definitely did it, for one, to protect my Bible study group, because we thought about going with that for Bible study, and I wanted to make sure they knew that that was inappropriate for Bible study, so I read all 3 of them, and yeah, it was inappropriate.
Okay,
And-
that's a very progressive Bible study. Beth
Yeah,
Moore
yeah.
has some books too, you know.
50 Shades of Grace.
Grace, yeah, 50 Shades of Grace is so much better. What's really funny is now I want to talk about this, but now it's going to feel like we're gossiping or we're talking about. But there's a couple elements of that I found funny. They were considering doing this as a Bible study. Do not understand that at all. And had to read all 3 books to make sure that it was okay.
I'm sure it wasn't as a Bible study. I'm sure it was like the Bible study girls were going to read them. Like, it wasn't like they were going to read the books and be like, well, what does this teach us about?
Yeah.
You know?
That's one of those things where you can almost like you use it as a justification to do something you know is not right. Well, let's read this so we know what people are talking about and our other friends, so we can better witness to them. And that's kind of a danger, I think, in some ways. You know, it's like, you know what, I need to literally, there was a pastor at a church I went to in Orlando that stepped down from pornography. And he had to step down. He left the church, and it was a big deal. And there were people that said, well, he needs to know what's going on out there. You're like, what? Seriously? Are you that blind to this? You pretty much know pornography's not right, you know? And you don't have to immerse yourself in it to know it's wrong. And he wasn't doing research, you know? So that's a weird justification that I think you got to be careful with, you know, to use your faith to justify doing something you just want to do.
I do think it highlights maybe a deficiency in what the church talks about, because we don't talk about that stuff because we don't want to be like, sex is such a scandal. Like, our society's made it so dirty. And did I just say that word?
You did. What is wrong with you, man?
No, and that's exactly my point. Like, that's what the church,
right?
A lot of people in the church have done, and so we can't talk about it.
Let me do
there
this.
needs to be a vehicle where it is talked about in a healthy way.
Let me do this, because it is podcast and everything like that. It's not like the radio, but I want to have an honest conversation about this right now. So if you're under 18, go ahead and turn off your radio, which everyone that's under 18 just turned it up. I guarantee that. But if you're parents and you guys are all listening to the podcast together and you don't want to have this conversation with your kid, that's fine. Go ahead and dump out now. Fast forward, because I do want to talk about this, because I think there is something to that. We shy away from having honest conversations about sex. And honestly, inside of our faith, we should do marriage better. We should, you know, have healthier marriages. And that's a big part of a healthy marriage. And we should be able to have conversations. We should have the best love songs about our spouses, but there's something that we're like, we're not allowed to really write those. We got to send everything vertical. And I think if we were writing songs about relationships in a better way, that could have a big impact on our world.
Yeah, I've shared this. I shared this off air, but the thing that really changed things for me, I'll just never forget this. When I was in high school, one of the youth group leaders let us ask her questions, and she was very open about it. And it was known that, okay, this is something for marriage. This is something that you need to wait for. It needs to be done the right way.
Right.
But
God has a plan for these
right.
things. And when you do it his way, things are so much better.
But it's also a really great thing. And it was the first time in my life where it wasn't taboo. It was talked about in a healthy way, where it was a married woman who was mature about it, and it was done in just such a good way that I actually messaged her after I got married and thanked her for that, because it changed my entire perspective on everything and just let me know that it was something to look forward to.
Right.
And I think that also helps. There not a lot of people wait in anymore. And that statistic is true for the church as well. And sometimes I wonder if it's so taboo, and then eventually you get to young adulthood and you're not married yet, and then something kind of derails, and things happen. But I wonder if it were built up more as something to look forward to, more people would have a reason to wait.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because we're in that place with my daughter now. She's an adult. She's 18, and we've been honest with her about like sex and how it's supposed to be viewed and used, and she has a really healthy view of it. But it was so important to have those conversations with her because there are people around her and friends of hers that are starting to fall.
Right.
And so for her to not, and I asked her point blank the other day, she was telling me about one of her friends, and I asked her point blank, I said, okay, what do you think about this now? Like, what are your thoughts? Are you like almost a little jealous? Are you curious? Are you like, man, that's a mistake? And so I wanted to know what she thought.
Yeah.
And I appreciated her saying, I feel bad for her because I think she's missing out on something that you guys have been telling me is good, and I want to wait and experience it in that form.
And I watched so many of my peers, most of my peers, that if they weren't
at a Christian college,
that if they weren't getting it the right way, if they weren't getting the information the right way.
Thank you for clarifying that. You had that was a really horrible time to pause for the record. We'll cut that for a promo.
If they weren't getting the information the right way, eventually, A, they're looking at their peers and saying, okay, well, this seems to be acceptable everywhere else. B, they start Googling it. C, they're watching movies. And pretty soon, like, all of this information is in your life already. Just because the church isn't talking about it doesn't mean that no one else is. And you're suddenly getting this wrong perspective. And I've had so many friends that were like, I'm going to wait. And then they didn't, because slowly it became a cultural thing that was acceptable.
I will say this, Zach, you were talking about we need to have these conversations in church. I will say this, that when I was going to Cross Point, they did a sermon about sex, and it was the worst thing ever. Like,
I'm not saying they need to do it Sunday mornings from the pulpit.
They handled it so badly to the point where the pastor at the time the next week was like, yeah, I think we missed the mark on that one.
Oh,
yeah, like
man, I don't remember that one. Was I there?
I was when I was going to the main campus at Charlotte. It was yeah. They were trying to be cool about it, and they had like a therapist and another person, and they were like these old people, and they got way too graphic. And then there were kids at church for that day. Like,
it's always like you have the most visitors that Sunday ever, and you're like, it's not always this.
See, my experience, the thing that made a difference to me was a one-on-one interaction, and that's why I think it's good to invest in. If you're in a church, if you see someone younger, invest in their lives and get to know them. And then when those things come up, they're getting that information from you in the right way, and that could change things for them, like it did for me.
Because there was something about, like, before we got into the podcast and the precast, we were talking about, we knew we were going to play this call, but there's like, how there's double standards and stuff. There's a double standard with like romance novels, I think, where when guys look at pornography, everyone instantly goes, that's wrong. It's obviously wrong. But there are all these romance novels, and 50 Shades of Grey, which is beyond that, but that women would read and somehow justify, like, it's okay, there's not pictures, so I guess that makes it okay. But I know of a few women's groups that were not religious women's groups of friends that all read the book, and it tore apart some marriages, because of infidelity after this and things. And I'm not blaming the book, because there was obviously deficiencies in their relationships prior to, but it was one of those things that it was not a healthy thing at all, for them, but it was somehow justified, like, oh, this is different. It's just a book. And I think it functioned for women the same as pornography does for guys.
Well, either way, you're thinking about someone else in that way other than your spouse, because it's this story about these fictional characters.
Right.
But guess what? You're not reading your own story. You're not reading the story of your husband. You're reading the story about someone else. It's the same thing as pornography.
And it's going into your head, so you're picturing.
And it goes back to how men and women are wired. And if you, you can't compare apples to oranges. When men are wired one way, and so one thing...
Men are wired visually.
Right, and women are wired more emotionally, in that story aspect,
Yep.
I think definitely triggers women more.
Yeah, without a doubt. So anyway, there you go. We've had a pretty honest discussion about that, which I
On
like.
Facebook Live of all
I
places.
know. Of all the days to do that, dadgummit, I forgot about that. What is wrong with you? I gave a disclaimer for the precast. I forgot about that.
They have the disclaimer?
Okay,
Yeah, but if they tuned in midstream.
Welcome.
Welcome to it. There you go. It's like, okay. Here's the thing. We were going to play Being Boozled today, but we were already almost 30 minutes into this thing. And I want to do this like by itself tomorrow so that we can do it justice.
That's what we teased on
We
our...
teased it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what people tuned
They're
in
gonna-
for,
I'm
but
sorry.
instead they got a long
yes.
speech.
I know. I know. I'm sorry. Let's do this tomorrow where we have more time, and that's all we'll do tomorrow is Being Boozled. Because I don't
She
want
has
to.
it all
I
set
doubt it.
up.
I know.
I bet someone else is going to call about 50 Shades
Yeah.
of Grey. Then we'll.
No,
we'll
I don't want to
dedicate
rush.
that
I don't
one
want to
to-
rush through it. That's the thing. I don't want to rush through it, and then it won't be fun. Like we'll be like, oh, that was.
Because we have time limits on the podcast.
Yes, yes, we do. I have LLPs to do today for like a month. All
I'll
right.
just pack it
No
up.
one knows what that means. Can you
Yeah, I
explain
know.
that?
No, they're horrible.
Betty
It's
will help you
liners.
with your LLPs if you play right now.
No.
Are you gonna sulk? Are you
I'm
sulking?
sulking right now.
I see it. Why are you sulking?
Because
Why? What?
this would have been fun.
I know, and it will be
But
fun
no,
tomorrow.
instead you wanted to talk
It's
about
like
50 Shades of Grey.
she had to eat all the vegetables in hopes of getting to the donut, and then you just took away the donut.
We'll play tomorrow. Like I wanted. I'm saying I want it to be
It's
fun.
like a horrible parent
This,
relationship.
oh my gosh.
We'll
No,
play
no,
catch
no, 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 no.
tomorrow.
This is
Tomorrow never comes. It's like cats,
in the cradle and the
and, you,
silver
and then you sit
spoon.
and you laugh at me.
Little boy blue.
What
and
were you gonna say?
I was gonna say
moon.
something semi-mean.
Sorry. Being boozled, but Wally took over.
You
Okay.
just got bean boozled.
Yeah, you did. Hey. All right, I'll tell you what. To make it up for you, I'll eat one of those at random right now. And so hopefully I got a 50-50 shot of getting something disgusting.
Caitlin just commented, by the way. She's played this game before, and it is a game you want to rush through.
Yeah, because it's gross.
Mm.
All right, give me one. I'll eat one at random. So it's 50-50. It's the lady or the tiger.
Let's not go with the number 50.
Okay.
Yes.
You're either gonna get chocolate pudding or
Ooh, I love chocolate pudding.
canned dog food.
I don't like canned dog food. Okay. Oh. So, Bean Boozled. Oh, they're all like such a lovely color. I'm a little nervous. I have like a gag,
You have a
reflex.
gag reflex.
I do. Okay, we have cups.
No, you can't spit it out. You can't spit
You
it
have.
out.
That's why we have cups.
I know, but that was for the game. We're not playing the game.
Oh, so now I have to.
I don't accept your apology if
She
you
has new
spit it
rules.
out.
Yeah, she does. I hope I get pudding and that's not a big deal.
I hope you get pudding, but your mind tricks you into thinking it's the other. You got pudding.
I did not.
You're just joking.
I swear to you, honest truthful, I did not.
You're
Honest truthful, Benny. I don't lie. Honest truthful.
Maybe we should. Maybe instead of playing the game at the end of every podcast, we should just give him one jelly bean.
I like that.
I think I like that better.
I'm
No.
trying to eat it.
Swallow.
Is it like canned dog food or like the
cheated.
dry dog food?
Whoa. Okay. That's a bit much. That's disgusting.
Drama
I'm not-
king.
Over dramatic much?
Seriously? Someone suggested we should smell his breath. No, thank
Not
you.
it.
Come here. Come
yeah,
here.
those goes.
Bring it. My eyes
No.
are watering.
No.
That's the legit. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I have a gag.
What kind of dog food was it?
I don't know. It's disgusting. I have a gag reflex, obviously, and that is.
Stop. Oh, gross.
I can't help it. I can't get the taste out of my mouth. That's a horrible game. We're not playing it tomorrow. No, we're playing it tomorrow, so everybody gets to play. And I'm curious if you guys, you have a gag reflex too, don't you, Becca?
Only when you gag.
Oh, okay. Oh.
You have a sympathetic gag
Like
reflex?
this happening right now makes me want to gag. Yes, I have a sympathetic gag.
It's the
reflex.
gag. Like that was a gag so deep it hurt my stomach. All right, that's good. Any questions before we get out of here?
Oh, we have time for questions. I see how this works.
All right, then stop sulking.
What?
All right, that's good. We're gonna call it for the day. Oh, bleh. I just want
That
to
game's going to be fun.
I want to wipe my tongue with my shoe, and that would be better right about now. Oh my gosh! After I've been in a gas station men's room. Oh,
What?
What?
I would rather to get this taste off my mouth. I would rather
Oh.
walk through a gas station men's room and then wipe my tongue with my shoe. Like that's how bad this tastes right now.
Prove it.
All right, that's gonna do it for your precast today. On with the podcast. Well, there you go. When we stop talking, you will know the podcast is over.